I am live. Hello, everybody. We're live, and it's Monday, and you guys are chit-chatting. Hello. I'm Annette Dion. I'm the host and founder of the Psychic News Network. And it's Monday. We're on StreamYard tonight, which is slightly disorienting, but we're on. How are you doing? How was your weekend? Don't forget, Annette is moving. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but let's get to what's going on. On Friday, I believe I said that it would take me the weekend to kind of catch up on things. That's the way it is nowadays. We all need the entire weekend to catch up on what went on during the week, and it's a whole lot. And the stories that are most emotional are the ones that stick out the most. I have not moved yet, obviously. You guys are funny. It looks the same, right? I have not moved yet. The news that sticks with us the most, I believe, and I can think of a lot of moments like this over the past few years, are the stories that are most shocking. So, Warren's saying, will Kristi Noem become a Veep nominee? So that's exactly what I'm referring to, and it seems like you already picked up on that. Doug's looking forward to our reading on Thursday. Likewise. So let's just go to what's going on with us at first. Today is the 29th. We have a happy Beltane message. Wednesday's May Day. Wishing you much merriment and a Beltane blessings. So there's that. As you all know, I'm getting ready to move. There's been a few snags in the move date. Anticipating probably by the weekend I'll be moved to my new location, and as you probably know, there's a lot to do and moving services, and like Comcast and all that. It is still light out. Oh, look, and these flowers just appeared like magic. We have the wonderful Terry Hall helping us out, being the producer tonight. Before we get started, I want to thank you all for subscribing and beg all of you who haven't subscribed to go ahead and subscribe. This PNN Psychic News Network is a public service, and also I derive all my income from business that I get from you. I'm a professional psychic, and I've been doing readings for over 30 years, so I'm one of the best in the biz. The Psychic News Network is where we go over the news from this psychic's perspective. So, yeah, moving is always a challenge. That's true. So bear with me while I gather my thoughts, while I gather my things to pack. It's all happening all together. We have a Monday dad joke to get kicked off. Why didn't the Mellons get married? Because they can't elope. I like it. We're off to a good start. Yay! Let's start with a fairy card, shall we? Good one. Ba-dum-bum. It is Beltane. It's time to talk to the fairies. The Troll Fae. Troll. Back in the old days, before we had the internet, a troll was a bad elf. Follow the secret signs, as treasures can be found where you least expect them. Ooh, I like that. Follow the secret signs, as treasures can be found where you least expect them. There's the Troll Fae, the Troll Fairy. I love the flowers. It's very fitting. And I think that kind of references, even though we're going through so many challenges and a lot of scary things, The secret signs can be treasures that we find where we least expect them. So in the difficulty, look for the blessings. Some things are blessings in disguise. And these are the Forest Fae cards. Forest Fae. I like it. I'm actually going to open the window behind me to let in a little spring air. Hang on a sec. Okay. Christy, no. You notice I'm attempting to avoid the topic. I mentioned to a couple of people, I do not have a dog. I don't have any pets. I've had parakeets in my life. I move a lot, and I know pets are a big responsibility, and I don't have a dog. I haven't had my own dog. My siblings had a dog. I'm saying this because I'm so deeply disturbed, even not being a dog owner. Where I live, there is a dog, and it's a lovely Burmese Shepherd, beautiful dog. But I'm moving. The proliferation of sociopathic human beings that are in positions of government that get a charge out of being cruel. She's a psychopath. That actually brag about it. Rose is saying, I think we're all deeply disturbed by what has transpired. It literally, you might notice it took me a little while to warm up tonight because I don't want to talk about it, but we have to talk about it. When you see people, I'm not saying she's a part of a genocide, but I'm just going to make a point, separate point, that when we see human beings that go to the point of that amount of cruelty, where they become sadistic and they do a violent act, a murderous act, in order to feel better. This is bizarre in the sense that, isn't it true that when we talk about somebody who's a monster, sometimes we use the terminology like, killing puppies, because it's the most heinous thing imaginable. An innocent puppy. Electra Storm says, I'm not a dog lover, but I know cruelty when I see it. She's a sick woman. Ted Bundy in heels. That's why it's so disturbing, because she's a sadistic sociopath in heels, like Electra Storm, Ted Bundy in heels is saying. And these people have been on a platform. And these people used to be anomalies. And they used to be, oh, well, that's a little strange member of society. That's kind of on the fringe. It's not the majority, just a few people that are that nuts. And then we have the former guy who would say, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. And how many times I've said here, yeah, it makes you sick to your stomach, absolutely. How many times I have said here that statement by him was not just hyperbole, as we say. And I know from my psychic impression that when I tune into somebody like Trump, who admires Hitler, thank you, Betty. When I tune into somebody like Putin, like Kim Jong-un, that energy, their brains, if you took an MRI of their brains, they would look different because their brains are different. They lack empathy and they lack compassion, and the cruelty is the point. So these phrases that we've heard, these statements that we've heard, the cruelty is the point. We see the Greg Abbott's there. We see him putting up this wire and these people are getting lacerations and bleeding to death and drowning in the river, and he just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. So we clearly see what we're up against. And this Christie knows that Donald Trump hates dogs. We know that she wants to be his VP pick. And we're facing the reality right now that there's a segment of the American population that think that electing Trump and, say, a Christie Noem is a good idea. Nothing, yes, Deb is saying nothing about any of this is normal. And we've kind of normalized it. I'm not saying we've normalized it, but it's almost like the universe, you know, the divine intelligence is giving us a message and going, look, it's just being screamed at us as if January 6th wasn't enough in terms of, wow, really? We're just going to let this go? We're not going to let this go. We're going to pay attention. Thank you for being here tonight so we can support each other. Time for a little tea. We can't let these stories fade into the distance. When we have a Supreme Court that said last week that they depicted to us, they showed us that they would entertain the idea of a president of the United States being immune from instructing SEAL Team 6 to assassinate somebody that he doesn't like. It's a wake-up call. The world is watching, Dwight saying, exactly. It is a wake-up call. Yes, and we also have Donald Trump calling for generals to be assassinated. Now, the thing about America, we'll get to the cards momentarily. We'll get to a group hug momentarily. The thing about America, and we all know that this is true, most people in America didn't live through World War II. Most people in America didn't, some have lived through a genocide, had to flee, but most haven't. Yeah, the Supreme Court is so corrupt. I say that all the time, Gloria. Most haven't. So to most people, they're like watching a movie and they feel like, well, yeah, it's just a movie, right? It's not just a movie. In fact, I wrote down a few notes tonight. You know, I was kind of packing and goofing off. Packing and goofing off. But anyway. And I wanted to mention about the people that are MAGAs that you see interviewed by hosts that go around, and they host several of YouTube channels. They go around and they talk to the MAGA people. And so you've seen clips, I'm sure you have, of some of these MAGA people with their red hats and all their Trump this and Trump the mugshot and all this. And they're asked what they think about Donald Trump saying that he will be a dictator on day one. They're completely telling us who they are. Christie Noem completely told us who she is. She was proud of it. She was proud of not only killing her dog, but killing the goat. So they asked these people, what do you think of Trump wanting to be a dictator? When they literally say, I think that would be good. I think we need a dictator. These are words right out of these people's mouths. We need a dictator. They don't know what they're talking about. So I was wondering, when they say Trump the dictator would be a good thing, I wonder if they recognize how it would affect them personally, or if they think they're just watching some kind of a movie. I think that they think they're watching some kind of a movie. I do. I don't think it sinks in. Clarence is mad. Christie brings in hell with Trump and others. And I'm going to pull some cards. And I guess I was going to pull the nicey cards, but I think I need the nefarious cards for this. I think they really, just don't conceive of it. I think they don't know what they're asking for. So, Christy, over the weekend also, we saw on some of the Sunday news shows, we saw once again well, I don't know when the Bill Barr interview was. I don't think that was over the weekend. I think that was before the weekend. Yes, Hunter is going to win his lawsuit. Against who? Hang on. Against Fox News. Yes, I believe Hunter will win that. When we see Bill Barr, when we see Sununu, when we see Mitch McConnell, after the interviewer lists all the many crimes against the United States that Donald Trump committed, and they say, hey, so what about this? Surely a normal person would go, oh yeah, I guess you have a point. Yeah, that he wouldn't be good for, no, of course I'm for democracy. No, we need our freedom. He needs to be held accountable. No. Lindsey Graham, Sununu, Bill Barr, JD Vance, the list goes on and on and on and on. So remind me if I don't get to it. Are they being threatened? Are they being threatened? Okay, so group hug. Ready? Group hug, because we just talked about puppy murdering and goat murdering. So ready? Group hug. 1, 2, 3. Kindness. All right. Kindness. Kindness and normalcy. Kindness and normalcy. Let us not lose sight of what's happened here. I have these. See these headphones? I bought these headphones to listen to when the January 6th committee hearings began. Remember how we waited with anticipation? We wanted to hear every word. We wanted to be part of it. Well, I got these headphones, these Bluetooths, because I really wanted to just be able to kind of hang out and really listen. We have to pay attention to what has happened and not forget. And many people have forgot about the January 6th committee hearings, which is understandable because things happen, right? We need the media to step up and keep reminding people. We're going to pull 3 cards not about Kristi Noem right away. We're going to pull 3 cards about Bill Barr. Angela M. is saying they're reporting that the Supreme Court justices are being threatened. Well, I've been saying that all along, but I'm not sure if you're referencing they're being threatened by whom? The right or the left? Because what Angela's saying about the Supreme Court, I'm going to read on Bill Barr, but what Angela's saying about the Supreme Court, they are reporting that the Supreme Court justices are being threatened. I don't really know what you're saying. Like, which Supreme Court justices? Because I don't feel that from... I do feel that when we're talking about these other yahoos. So let's read on Bill Barr. But not about the Supreme Court. Yeah, so Angela, you're saying they're not sane, but that's kind of like a very empty thing that you've heard on the news. I don't know why they would say that. Barr belongs in jail for sure. And the other thing is the bounty. They bounce from one thing to, yeah, do you or don't you? Which one is it going to be, right? Bill Barr. Bill Barr is being threatened. For entertainment purposes only, I just want to tell you that Bill Barr is indeed being threatened. Yes. He's being threatened with what I'm picking up is he's being threatened to be exposed. Might be the same with Mitch McConnell too. The lover card. I have to check these cards and see how many I can reveal because there's a lot of nakedness and violence. Okay, there's nakedness here. Five of Swords. Bill Barr. Well, he's afraid of being exposed. And the Five of Swords is he's exceedingly challenged, and Bill Barr has heart issues. I'm picking that up psychically. I haven't heard that. I feel a lot of congestion around Bill Barr's heart, which makes sense. I feel a ton of shame. I feel that Bill Barr has a ton of shame. I don't feel like he has a lot of remorse, but I do pick up on a lot of shame. I don't know how he could have one without the other, but he has a lot of shame. Page of Swords. When they get to what Bill Barr knows, that's just going to be the tip of the iceberg. Bill Barr has the goods on the criminality and on the fascist attempt to take over America. Bill Barr has the goods. That heart is black, and Betty's saying, yeah. Very much so. I very much get that Bill Barr is being threatened. See, and then Angela was bringing up the Supreme Court being threatened. It's a whole different thing. Oh, you think Bill Barr is a member of Opus Dei? Well, I'm trying to remember who else. There was somebody else. It was a lawyer. There was somebody else that was a member of that I picked up. They were feeling guilty. It was many months ago. I'm trying to remember who that was. Somebody that, oh, I know who it was. One of Trump's lawyers. It'll come to me. He was part of the January 6th investigation. He was questioned. It'll come to me who that was. Deb was asking, did Bill Barr destroy the files taken by the FBI from the Epstein Island? Not picking that up. Bill Barr is corrupt. Bill Barr doesn't know who he is anymore. He just, I'm not justifying his behavior. I'm just saying that he's just, there's a certain thing, and I've talked about it before, and this is what we're bearing witness to, like, for a long time now. Like JD Vance, right? I've always picked up about JD Vance, who wrote the Hillbilly Elegies, which I've never seen the book. I would never read it. With JD Vance, who's also all over the place, because he's been a Trump, averse to Trump, and he's a Trump supporter. JD Vance's grandfather on the other side is very displeased with him. Dad joke, I was wondering why the Frisbee kept getting bigger and bigger, but then it hit me. Thank you. Thank you, I needed that. I used to love to be playing Frisbee. I loved Frisbee. Bear with me, I'm dealing with a lot of dark stuff here that's going on in America. Let's read on JD Vance since I brought him up. Barbara appreciated that, Thomas. Does Bill Barr have the 10-inch thick missing notebook? I don't pick that up. No, I picked up the Mark Meadows had that. Yeah, I picked up the Mark Meadows had that. Trying to think of the name of the guy who was part of Opus Dei, who kind of was feeling guilty about what he had done. Dan Brown mentions Opus Dei in his novels. Oh, really? Oh no, a lot of what Dan Brown wrote was not nonfiction. And he knew about Mary Magdalene too. I'm pulling cards on JD Vance. So much hypocrisy. What I'm reading on is what's behind their flip-flopping. Bill Barr is all over the place. JD Vance kind of went from not Trump supporter to total all-in Trump supporter. Lindsey Graham is all over the place. JD Vance. It's all about his ambition. It's all about his ambition. JD Vance, he's an empty person. JD Vance, I'm not really sure if he is really comfortable with his masculinity. I'll just say that. Follow the money, that's what's behind the flip-flop. Rose is saying it's more than that. I'm not saying that's not part of it, but it's more than that. JD Vance, Seven of Wands, it's blind ambition. Queen of Wands, somebody's onto him. I feel like with JD Vance, somebody who's a female wants to tell what he's doing, what he's guilty of, JD Vance. And what I pick up is that it's speaking of election fraud, I'm picking up around JD Vance that he didn't win the last election legitimately. And it looks like a woman, this might come out later. This is there's a woman who wants to out JD Vance, and JD Vance just thinks he's going to be in a stronger position if he just keeps standing by Trump. Now somebody's saying, Catherine's saying, Trump has everything on everyone, 4 years of gathering info to bribe people. I just got to tell you, just being a psychic, that's not what I pick up. I've never picked up that Donald Trump is blackmailing them, which is very strange. You'd think that that's what I would pick up. I get more that it's the threats, Angela. Whose birthday? Betty saying happy birthday. Happy birthday. EQ333. Identify yourself so we can call you by your name. Damon, you're here. Damon, yeah, so I'm talking about JD Vance. What I said was, I don't get that JD Vance is comfortable with his masculinity. I'll just say it like that. I can't go through all these cast of characters, or maybe I can. If I pick it up, if I pick it up, I can. All right, Mitch McConnell. What I want to tell you about Mitch McConnell. Here's what I get about Mitch McConnell. First of all, he's very ill. He's very physically ill. Mitch McConnell's very physically ill. I feel like he's heavily medicated. You know, prescription medication that keeps him alive. Going back to JD Vance, John is saying, I agree with you 100% about JD Vance. His opponent was ahead of him, then Vance won. I definitely, yeah. Every time he appears on TV, you reserve the right to exercise your middle finger. Go ahead, get it out of your system, John. I got your envelope today. Thank you. Finally went to the post office. It took me 2 weeks. And anyone else who's donated, I appreciate it. Josh Hawley has masculinity issues big time. Yeah, so for some of these people, for some of these men, like Lindsey Graham, they're not comfortable with their masculinity because they're more feminine. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because there isn't. But we're reading on Mitch McConnell right now. But first, a dad joke. I know they say the money talks, but all mine says is goodbye. Now, that's not a very good prosperity affirmation. I believe Michael's saying ego. It's beyond ego. Mitch McConnell is afraid to cross Trump. And I do think that, okay, so there are some people that Trump has something on. And Mitch McConnell is one. And Mitch McConnell is very, very compromised, particularly by his physical health, which of course affects his mental health. They are all in Moscow. Well, some more than others, Cheryl. Yes, please hit the thumbs up. Moscow Marge for sure. Moscow Mike Johnson for sure. I mean, from a psychic perspective. Will Hunter win his lawsuit against Fox News? I already answered that. I said yes. Did you just show up, Gloria? Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is trying to balance out the risk of him not supporting Trump. And so he keeps leaning into supporting Trump. And I appreciate the interviewers who are holding these traitors' feet to the fire because they're asking the tough questions. I really appreciate that. Donnie Dooch, I never know how to say that guy's name, on Nicole Wallace questioned the masculinity of all these guys who fold when it comes to the loser. Well, it's not all of them, but there are a few. I think, Warren, what you're referring to is having a backbone. But there are a few that are hiding that they're gay, which in a sane world, people let people be who they are. It's nothing irks me more than that. Anyway, Mitch McConnell, the hype, yes, yeah, okay. Well, here it is. Mitch McConnell is trying to balance out what to say, and he always errs in the direction of support Trump because he has secrets. This is a high priestess, and the tower means, yeah, actually, Mitch McConnell is facing the end of his life. He's facing the end of his life. He's old, his health is compromised, and he just wants to kind of go to his grave someday without anybody knowing while he's alive what he's been involved in. Michigan Attorney General got search warrants for Twitter and Google. I read that. Netting hundreds of new files for their ongoing probe in the 2020 fake electors plot. Yes, and that's also happening in Arizona. Mike has a question. Will AOC's motion to impeach Clarence Thomas go through? It's a start. It's a start. So anyway, Mitch McConnell's been holding on to a lot of secrets. Moscow Mitch is aptly put. He gained a lot of riches from some deals with Moscow. I think it was some kind of a mining or something like that. You guys might know. And the tower card is like, Mitch is just trying, he's just hanging on and hoping that he can kind of escape scot-free and not die in prison. That's what he's hoping. I mean, I'm not saying anything's going to happen with Mitch McConnell in terms of being indicted and tried. I don't see that. But he just wants to kind of exit stage right. Sort of. Oh, it's an aluminum plant. Thank you, Jackie, for filling me in on that. Okay. Let's read on Lindsey Graham, so since we're kind of on a roll here. Yep. Are you guys getting some nice spring weather, I hope? It's warming up here a little bit. Not too much. Seagulls are coming back. Okay. Lindsey Graham. This is weird because Lindsey Graham kind of has more to. He has more ways to hide. I don't really know what that means. New York City hit 80 degrees today. Get out. Really? 86 in Jersey? Oh, it wasn't that warm here at all. Spring cleaning. Cheryl, good for you. Yeah, I got to do a lot of that. Lindsey Graham, this is interesting because I would think I'd get more on Lindsey Graham in terms of like swords and stuff. I have the 4 of Wands, the 9 of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. I'm kind of feeling like Lindsey Graham will not run again and kind of slither away. That's what he's thinking he wants to do. Kalani's in cold country in Hillsboro, Oregon. 56. Yeah, it was about that here today. I already have my trucker tan on my arms. Yeah, it's that time of year, right? Only got up to 64 degrees in western New York, Barbara's saying. That's perfect. Okay. Let's do one more. Let's look at Sununu. We looked at him before. These guys are all doing this. We're back in Trump. We're back in Trump, along with the billionaires. We're back in Trump. We're back in Trump. That's what they're all doing. Sununu. Let's see. The governor of New Hampshire, who did the same thing. It's almost like they're reading from the same script. No matter what, we're back in Trump. We're back in Trump. And Bill Barr went so far as to say that the threat to democracy is evident. I'm just putting in my words. Bill Barr is like, it's a really big threat to democracy. They want to take away gas stoves and make us drive cars that are electric. That's it. That's more important than saving democracy from fascism. We got to wake people up. Barr is a disgrace, that's for sure. Sununu is a hypocrite, and he's another one. You can make a list. I'm going to start making lists at how many of these are playing the same game, almost verbatim. Sununu is a hypocrite. They go whatever way the wind blows. It's really bad for them. It's not a good life when you don't know where you stand. Sununu, I don't think, is going to get reelected. Sununu has taken money he shouldn't have taken. Yeah. From some party that's associated with the Republicans. Sununu has taken money that he shouldn't have taken. I don't know what it is. It'll probably come out. They all are doing the same thing, and it's just like they're following the same script. It's almost to the point that when they sit down with an interviewer, you know what they're going to say. Matt Gaetz has a Republican challenger for his seat in Florida. The problem that we're having is that they're working on suppressing the vote. And as far as the loser goes, notice something about the loser. Did Sununu say he isn't running for re-election? I don't know. Maybe. He wouldn't win if he did. Notice that Trump isn't campaigning. Please look at DeSantis. He met with Trump for hours. That was today, right? What question should I ask? What happened? Why is there a thumbs down? For who I'm talking about? Sometimes those thumbs just they just show up. Trump isn't campaigning. We'll look at whatever was going on with DeSantis and Trump today. He's not campaigning. So I want to just say that if Trump is in a presidential, if he's in an actual presidential election, which this really isn't that, and I'm glad that Biden called that out at the correspondence dinner, that he wants the press to stop covering this as a horse race. He said that much. Trump isn't campaigning. So what does that mean? Do you guys want to chat about this? He's not campaigning. He's not attempting to get people to want to vote for him. There's the cult members, but Trump is not campaigning. So, no, it's not no money. That's not why. No, I understand that you're saying he can't afford to campaign, but that's not the main reason. He's golfing instead of campaigning. He's not attempting to win people's votes. He's stuck in court. Yeah, I said that many months ago when people were asking me if he'd be able to run for president, and I said he'd be too busy in court to run for president. But on the off days, when he's not in court, he's not campaigning. I'll tell you what I get. And I've said this before, and I'm going to pull 3 cards about it. The reason he's not campaigning is because he's not planning to win by winning votes. He's not planning to win at all. He's planning to take over the government of the United States. None of you got it. I thought one of you would get it. Kitty came close. Kitty Holler came close. He thinks he's the winner. He's not planning to go by the number of votes received. He's planning a takeover. Annie just said it. Okay, so I just pulled 3 cards on this. He's planning a takeover. Look at this card. Doesn't that look like a takeover? There's a demon with a message. And the message is American dictatorship. This is what Trump is planning. Yes, Christine, now you're all getting closer. Yes. He is not campaigning because he's not intending to take over the United States government by winning in an election. We're still trying to get rid of Louis DeJoy. I noticed you're talking about Louis DeJoy. There's a website, firedejoy.com. You can go and sign a petition. We need to get rid of DeJoy because that's part of the coup. Yes, Cheryl. Now you're getting it. How is Trump going to take over the United States? Of all those Proud Boys, 3% are Oath Keepers are in prison. I hate to break it to you, Kalani, but there are a whole lot more. Another insurrection. That's what I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the reason, my psychic compression, Psychic News Network, the reason that he's not campaigning is because he has no plans whatsoever to be in a presidential campaign and to win through votes. Oh, thank you, Terry. I told you to remind me. See, I get so absorbed, I forget I need to do a commercial. So the Queen of Wands. Now, the Queen of Wands came up again. And before it came up around JD Vance, and it came up around a woman wanting to hold him accountable. I think that this is Letitia James. I also think that there are a lot of people that are aware that Trump is not planning to campaign because he's just planning a coup. Because how attractive can it be to the American people that aren't members of the cult? How attractive can it be to the American people to vote for a guy who's got nothing whatsoever planned to help them? He hasn't even made anything up. What do I see as the outcome? That's a very broad question. Knight of Wands. He is planning on his minions. Trump is planning on his minions to do what he says, to be like his little troops. What's going on with Jordan and Comer? They're very quiet. I feel like they're behind the scenes. Jimmy Jim Jordan and James Comer trying to work out an unworkable situation. That's what I pick up with them. They're trying to come up with something to continue this, prosecuting Hunter Biden and this impeachment of Joe Biden. and they're behind the scenes. Comer and Jordan are behind the scenes trying to make up something new, but I don't see that they have anything. Yeah, Deborah's saying that Trump doesn't have a platform, nor did he in 2020. Lindsey should slither away. It's funny you got the two. I don't think that was a two naked male card. I think that was the two naked female cards for Lindsey Graham. I'll have to go back and look. All right. Sorry to spend so much time in the slime. They know Jack is coming for them? Yeah, so, well, we can read about that. Let's read about Jimmy Jim Jordan and James the Dunce Comer. Two very, very low IQ human beings. I'm not picking up target letters from them. I'm asking what they're up to. Oh, here they are. Here it is again. They're up to a new plan. Jimmy Jim Jordan and James the Dunce Comer are up to a new plan. All these people that I'm reading on are right now planning on stealing the next election, planning on doing something like a coup. That's what they're all thinking about. Maine passed the national popular vote interstate what do they call it? I did read that. Interstate compact? Is that what they call it? Yeah, we need to have the president win by the popular vote. We need paper ballots again and one-day voting. Ooh, I don't know if that would work. That would be real complicated. I don't know. And one-day voting? Not really agreeing with that. Jersey Shore. I do see Biden winning. I see Biden winning. I mean, let's think about this. And who was it that I heard? It might have been JD Vance. They all say the same thing. It was JD Vance. I heard him on an interview, a clip of an interview, pointing to all the things that Joe Biden is knocking it out of the park about, and saying that it was bad, saying the opposite of what's going on in this country. Don't send your ballot back through the mail, you're telling people, Joanne? Yeah, probably just go to the polls. There's no excuse for not voting. But understand me that the Trump isn't planning on the votes being the way that he gets in. Yeah, single day voting, that wouldn't work. All right. I know it's terrible. It's bad. We'll get through it. So I see Joe Biden winning. I do see Joe Biden winning. But you know what I want to say about that? And Joe Biden won in 2020, and look what happened. So maybe it doesn't take a psychic, but I'm telling you my psychic impression. I'm thinking about reading on, I don't know, it's interesting tonight. I feel like I want to read on, like I just read on all the traitors, the treasonous traitors, the Republicans, the MAGA Republicans that are just going on TV and lying and being awful and saying that they're going to vote for Trump because it's good for democracy. And I was talking about Kristi Noem, and I need to read on her next. And I think that Trump has her on his mind as a VP pick. I also think he has JD Vance on his mind quite a bit as a VP pick. The other group that I want to read on, because I've been thinking about this a lot, I'm going to call them, for lack of a better thing to call them, the women who make themselves look like Barbies. That includes brunette Barbies. that have all this work done, and they happen to be blessed with being fairly attractive, and they use that natural or unnatural modified, they use that beauty, that image, to fool people into thinking that, oh, they look nice, so they must be nice. I don't know if there's a word for that. Is there a term for that? Kristi Noem is one. I wish that everybody could read energy. Carrie Lake gave me the willies from the very first time I ever bore witness to her appearance. Replasticans. Did you just make that up, Christine? That's pretty good. You get a bell. You get a bell. Replasticans. That's good. Did you make it up or did you hear that? It doesn't matter. I was just curious. Sociopathic. Yeah, Damon, for sure. Especially when it comes to Kristi Noem. But so many of them. Kristi Noem is always giving me the creeps. Remember when she invited Trump to come and speak in South Dakota, and it was like July 3rd, and it was really dark, and the backdrop it was dark out. It was at night, and the stage was dark, and these American flags were in the background, and she introduced him, and it was just like, it was like a fascist dark rally. It was awful, and she was all in. Stepford Republicans. But do you know what I mean? It's almost like, especially Carrie Lake, right? People make fun of Carrie Lake. Thank you, Maria. All right. You've been a member for 1 year. That's great. You get a bell. First time I saw Carrie Lake, remember people kind of make fun of her for having all these filters, and I was making a joke the other night because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my camera. It was all fuzzy. It's better tonight. I think I reset it. And I was going, I don't mean to be doing a Carrie Lake because it was all fuzzy. Not as much as her videos. And they use it, they clearly use it as a way of, it's a form of deception. Look, I'm so pretty, so I must be nice. In the meantime, she's shooting her dog, Kristi Noem. There's got to be a term for it. I like the ones you came up with. Mitch McConnell's protecting his wife Elaine Chaw's family shipping company criminal deeds. Yeah, that could be part of his wishy-washiness. Oh, Nanya's birthday is Wednesday. Happy birthday. You have like a Beltane birthday. And I want to give a shout out to Tia, whose birthday is May 1st. I'm scheduled to be on for PNN. I just don't know where I'll be. I'm going to pull 3 cards about that. Oh, yeah, she shot a goat. Did she shoot the 2 horses? I want to also give a shout out to Texas Paul, who did a really excellent video, who's a rural guy who lives in rural Texas, and they'll give you the lowdown on animals and how to take care of animals if they're not well, and how they can do it in a very humane way, and it's not expensive, and if it needs to be done, it needs to be done sometimes. Not Kristi Noem, but it was really good. It was really good. Kitty Holler is concealing your next birthday. You don't have to tell. You won't get any presents, though, if you don't tell. So, Damon's out of the loop. Wait, what? Who shot who? Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota, has a book. I don't know what the title of the book is. I guess I purposely didn't want to see what it was. And in the book, she brags about this experience. I guess I should have explained the story in case somebody here didn't hear it. She bragged about shooting her dog, who was a bird dog, who was obviously not well trained, who was a puppy, who was only 14 months old. And she took him out, and he was like misbehaving. So she dragged him and threw him in a gravel pit and shot it to death. I guess I didn't tell you the story because it's so horrible to recount. Then she went back home and shot an unruly goat. and threw the goat in the gravel pit, or maybe threw him in first. And then she talked about killing 2 of her horses. There are many, many, many ways to deal with an unruly dog, and shooting them is not one of them. She had some horses put down. Yeah. Yeah, I know, but how did she have the horses put down, and why did she have the horses put down? Yeah, but Michael, what were the reasons? I understand what you're saying. It's just that when she writes that, and then she writes that she put 2 horses down, it makes you kind of wonder how she did that. Damon's what? What's wrong with her? Well, we read on that. I guess you were late. Oh, no, we didn't read on that yet. I just talked about it. So I'm going to lump them into one because it's going to be almost an hour, and Midas Touch is on, and we want to catch Midas Touch tonight because there's so much happening. Dad joke to lighten the mood. People who take care of chickens are literally chicken tenders. I like it. Little side note. A lot of you know I mentioned my parents are elderly, and I go hang out with them, and the TV's on, and there's been a show, there's been on some cable channel reruns of Laugh-In from the 1970s, and I was listening to these silly jokes, and I started to feel like that I was hearing dad jokes. There's a channel that's having reruns of Laugh-In. Pretty funny. Please stop talking about animal murder. Well, I did. I was just telling you the news. Roman and Martin, right. Yeah, I felt like I was listening to dad jokes. Was it Me TV? Is that what it is? Rose knows. 3 cards about the women who use their natural or unnatural or a combination of both beauty. Remember Alina Habba said, "Oh, I'd rather be pretty than smart." Yeah, that. Very interesting. Three cards about them in general. Are they going to be... Yeah, Laugh-In. Oh my gosh. And the interesting thing about that show was the focus on the law. There were a lot of jokes about the legal system and the judge, and like, pretty interesting. Thank you, Marby. Did I forget to do a commercial? Terry, I'm out of control. We'll do it at the end. I'm all absorbed in all these crazy people news. Okay, are they going to be uncovered? I do think so. I do. I think Kristi Noem, this whole thing is going to kind of kick it off because she's offended everyone, including the MAGAs. Warren says the best comedy show was the week that was. I'll have to look that one up. Intelligent humor is the best. Yeah, it's true. I don't know. Laugh-In was more silly. Yeah, I actually think that the superficial, mean, cruel, sadistic, beautiful-looking women. What is that saying? You can't judge a book by its cover. That goes for the women that try to look so beautiful, but they're not. They're ugly inside. Goldie Hawn is still around. I know. I never heard of that show either, Warren Green. So it does look like the American people will get sick of these superficial women. I mean, Carrie Lake isn't really winning anything, right? I apologize for talking about Kristi Noem, but I do think it's important too. And I just want to say, I want a little credit for on Friday night when people were mentioning it, because that's when the story came out. Need a little support here. And I saw it in the chat. Did you hear what Kristi did to her dog? And I purposefully said on Friday night, I don't want to talk about it, whatever it is that she did, because I didn't know what it was, but I could tell it was horrible. because I didn't want to upset people. But now that the news is out, Scary Lake, I haven't heard that before. Yeah, ain't nothing to look at. Well, they have a lot of work done, and I'm not even saying anything about that. What I'm saying is, like, yeah, they're some of them are very attractive. What I'm talking about is using that as their whole recipe for deception. Dad joke, it was an emotional wedding. Even the cake was in ties and tears. Sorry, I can't see. Sorry, I messed up the joke. I grew up watching Love American Style. Remember the name, I don't remember the show. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you guys for donating. Please hit the thumbs up and please subscribe. I do have tea leaves. I'm back on Wednesday. Terry's going to run some commercials. Let's do that first and then we'll do the tea leaves. I told her I wanted to do it in the middle and then I totally wasn't even listening to her. Sorry. Are you addicted to self-criticism? I have a class coming up about releasing religious guilt, and it starts on May 18th. Go to my website to check it out. Next, we have Substack. I write articles that are part of the Grassroots of Democracy newsletter, and also they're on Substack. Please go to Substack and subscribe. It's free. Grassroots of Democracy Group.substack. You can click on that. Go to Substack and you'll see it. Please subscribe to that. Join my YouTube channel. We had a fun psychic party Saturday night. You get a free daily affirmation every single day on every level. And then there's other benefits there too. You can read through them. I support myself through you booking readings. And I'm also a life coach. So check it out. PsychicAnnetteDion.com. And next, spiritual life coaching. Spiritual life coaching, change your life for the better. People tell me that it's way better, exponentially better than therapy. Check it out. You'll get your life transformed in a good way, of course. On Tuesdays, we have a guided meditation for a healed America, and we review the church meetings from Church of Spirituality. Sign up at grassrootsdemocracy.com to join us. And Psychic News Network is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Grassroots of Democracy, also we meet on Thursdays for a discussion group and Saturdays at 4:30 for a work session. And, thank you, Barbara, Church of Spirituality is now on a new channel. I don't have as many views because people are kind of, finding it at Church of Spirituality on YouTube. Please go there and subscribe. It will make your life better. It's free. My income is dependent on donations and getting business. I help you. Help me to help you. You like the Smothers Brothers too. Yeah, the Smothers Brothers are on too. All right. Real quick, we'll just peek at the tea leaves and see if anything pops out. And thank you so much for joining me. Please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and please share. My success is dependent on your helping me out with those things. And I'm working on a record called Songs for Democracy. And when you donate in my tip jar or if you send me a check to my P.O. box, let me know it's going for the record. For the recording. I have too much going on. I really do. Anyway, I see a grasshopper. I see a mermaid. Okay. Let me see if I can show it to you. There's a grasshopper there. There's a sun. I see a grasshopper. I also see, you might not see it, but that's the psychic part. And I see a mermaid right here. There's a mermaid. And those are over the sun. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to just look up grasshopper. Because I do remember grasshopper being pretty significant. And while I'm looking for this, I just want to encourage you to join my class, Releasing Religious Guilt. It's a good class. I wrote a book for the class. grasshopper in the position of where the sun is on the cup. Sorry, Kathy, I didn't read about Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, but I'll do that on Wednesday. Enjoy a positive time, but do not forget to make some plans for the future, too. The grasshopper is also associated with fickle energies and a restless mind that cannot concentrate on anything for long. Since it's in the position of the sun, I would say that's what we're going to be seeing out of Trump. He's in court again tomorrow, being really fickle. And that looks kind of like a dinosaur, too. And real quick, the mermaid. And then I'll let you go, because we do want to watch Midas Touch and get caught up. A mermaid. Mermaids come up a few times. Playful, childlike qualities of our personality come to the fore as creativity and humor bubble up. Yeah, okay, that's us. That's us here. That's what we're doing. We're bubbling up. Cicadas are going to overrun the center of the country. I lived in Tennessee one of the years that it was just, wow, cicadas are loud. One more dad joke and we'll say goodnight. If a parsley farmer gets sued, can they garnish his wages? I love you guys. Thank you for plowing through the dark with us. And I wish I could bring you better news, and we'll work on it a little bit more. All right. Things are going to get better because we're going to be involved. Join Grassroots of Democracy. I love you all. Thank you for all your support. See you soon. Come to Grassroots of Democracy tomorrow night. All right. Namaste. See ya.